Have you noticed that some of the richest people in the world, instead of selfishly accumulating money, donate millionaire amounts on a regular basis? And the most curious thing is that, instead of getting poorer, they become even richer. Does this happen by chance? Or is there a principle behind this behavior that most people don't understand? The truth is that the most successful billionaires apply an ancient concept that has been ingrained in Jewish tradition for centuries, the Tzedakah. But before you think this is just charity, I need to show you how this practice is actually a powerful financial code. There is a fascinating story about one of the world's most influential Jewish billionaires, who attributes much of his success to Tzedakah. This young man started a small business, and at first he had a common mindset. He believed he needed to save every penny to grow. But something curious happened. One day, a rabbi close to his family told him, "If you want your wealth to grow, you need to make the money flow. Idle money dies, but money that circulates comes back multiplied." He was intrigued by this idea, as it seemed contradictory. How could giving away some of what he had help him thrive? Even skeptical, he decided to try it. He started by donating a small portion of his profits to social causes within his community. At first, nothing seemed to change. But little by little, he noticed something interesting. New connections began to emerge, unexpected opportunities appeared, and somehow the growth of his business accelerated. The more he gave intentionally and strategically, the more his wealth seemed to expand. And what started as an experiment became a life principle. Today, this billionaire pours millions into Tzedakah every year, and his philosophy is simple. I don't give because I'm rich. I'm rich because I give. This idea may seem counterintuitive to many people, but it is a secret that has been passed down through generations within Jewish communities. It's not just about helping others, but about understanding that prosperity is directly connected to financial flow. Those who hold on to money for fear of losing it end up blocking their own growth. Those who circulate money intelligently create a cycle of abundance that returns in ways that go far beyond what can be imagined. Now you may be wondering, but how does it really work? Is there a logical explanation for this effect? Or is it just a cultural belief? The answer may completely change your view on money and prosperity. And that's exactly what we're going to unravel. But first, it is very important that you do a little self-assessment. Have you ever practiced donation intentionally? Do you believe that giving can make you more prosperous? Or do you still see it as a loss? Comment below. This exchange of ideas can bring new perspectives and help others see the power behind this principle. In this channel, I am building a community of people who want to grow financially in a smart way, applying Jewish concepts that really make a difference in practice. For you to be part of this group and discover strategies that can transform your relationship with money, confirm your subscription to the channel to ensure that you don't miss the next content that will further deepen this knowledge and show you how to use not only Tzedakah but all Jewish knowledge to unlock new financial opportunities. Now, you understand why this concept goes far beyond charity and how it can be the key to prosperity. Many people see donation as a simple act of kindness, something optional, which is done only when there is money left over. But in Jewish tradition, Tzedakah goes far beyond charity. This concept doesn't just mean giving to the needy, but financial justice, a principle that balances the flow of wealth and ensures that it keeps growing. For Jewish thought, the giver is not losing money, but strengthening his own prosperity. The word tzedakah comes from the Hebrew root tzedek, which means justice, righteousness, balance. This means that donating is not seen as a favor or an act of sporadic generosity, but as a moral and economic obligation. Wealth, according to this principle, does not belong to one person in isolation. It is part of a larger system. If someone has financial resources, their responsibility is to ensure that this money continues to circulate productively. This not only improves the lives of those around it, but creates an environment where the donor's own prosperity is strengthened. But how does this work in practice? It may seem counterintuitive to think that giving money can somehow bring in more money. However, several modern studies and historical examples show that tzedakah activates a cycle of abundance that goes beyond what most people can see. Jewish communities have always applied this principle, and the impact of this can be seen throughout history. From the Middle Ages, when Jews were forbidden to own land and had to develop commercial and financial networks, to the present day, when many of the world's largest fortunes belong to Jewish businessmen. Tzedakah has been at the center of this prosperity mentality. It was not just a matter of helping the underprivileged, but of strengthening the community and creating an environment where wealth could circulate and multiply. One of the most striking examples happened in the 20th century, when a group of Jewish immigrants arriving with nothing in a new country managed to rebuild their wealth quickly. They applied a simple but extremely effective model. Each person who started a new business allocated a portion of their profit to help another community member start their own venture. This created a domino effect of economic growth, where those who were helped in the beginning later became the next donors. Money not only flowed but multiplied within the group, creating a financial support network that allowed these families to thrive even in foreign lands, without having to depend on governments or external institutions. This logic of the circularity of wealth is one of the greatest secrets of tzedakah. When you donate strategically, you are actually investing in the growth of the environment around you. And a more prosperous environment inevitably generates more opportunities, more connections, and more growth for you too. But it is important to highlight that it is not just about giving for the sake of giving. The way tzedakah is applied makes all the difference. There is a fundamental concept within the Jewish tradition that teaches that it is not enough to donate. It is necessary to know how to give intelligently. If a person distributes money in a disorganized way, without criteria, it can only end up encouraging dependence and not generating real impact. Strategic giving, on the other hand, creates a virtuous cycle where the money invested returns even stronger. This explains why many of the richest Jewish families in the world have well-structured tzedakah funds, where the donation is not made randomly, but rather with planning. They choose causes that strengthen education, create opportunities for new businesses, boost entrepreneurship, and help empower people to become financially independent. In this way, the impact spreads far beyond the act of giving, creating an ecosystem of continuous growth. And here's a crucial point. Tzedakah is not something exclusive to millionaires. Many people believe that donating is something that can only be done when you have a lot of money, but this is a common mistake. Within the Jewish tradition, it is taught that everyone can and should practice tzedakah, regardless of their financial situation. The issue is not the absolute amount you donate, but the intention and impact that this action generates. In fact, there is a teaching that says that the more difficult it is for someone to donate, the greater the positive impact of this donation on the person's life. This is because by committing to tzedakah, even in times of difficulty, one is demonstrating a mindset of abundance rather than a mindset of scarcity. This change in thinking makes them begin to see new possibilities, new opportunities, and, consequently, increase their chances of prospering. Many people believe that in order to accumulate wealth, you need to hold on to money, avoid unnecessary spending, and ensure that every penny stays under control. But what few understand is that the true abundance mentality works in the opposite way. The rich don't hold the money, they make it circulate. This concept is at the heart of tzedakah, and it is one of the secrets that explain why those who give, paradoxically, end up becoming even more prosperous. What differentiates the mentality of the rich from those who live in fear of losing money is the way they see abundance. While many people operate within a system of scarcity, believing that they need to protect their resources as much as possible to avoid difficulties in the future, true millionaires understand that money is energy, and that this energy needs to flow in order to continue growing. This logic is not only philosophical, it is present in several areas of economics and finance. When a company invests in innovation, creates jobs, and improves its products, it is making money circulate and, as a result, increases its revenue and market value. When an investor invests his capital strategically, he is not simply saving money, he is putting his capital to work, generating more resources over time. The same principle applies to tzedakah. When you donate, you are not throwing money away, but activating a cycle of prosperity that inevitably returns to you in unexpected ways. In the Talmud, there is a concept known as havtachah, which means divine promise. According to this teaching, those who practice tzedakah receive more in return, because this is one of the few areas where the Torah allows a person to test God. The teaching says that by giving with an open heart and in an intentional way, abundance returns to the giver in ways that he cannot always foresee. But this does not mean just expecting a supernatural reward. The Tzedakah generates practical impacts that explain why this promise is fulfilled. First, the psychology of generosity completely changes a person's relationship with money. Someone who gives consistently develops a growth mindset because they understand that money is not something static, but a continuous flow. This change in mindset has a powerful effect. The person begins to feel more secure financially, even before increasing their income, because they realize that they are in control of their own prosperity. And this trust generates behaviors that naturally lead to financial growth. In addition, Tzedakah strengthens connections and relationship networks. People who are recognized as donors, such as those who contribute to the growth of others, end up attracting more business opportunities, investments, and partnerships. This is an invisible rule of business. Those who contribute to the growth of others inevitably grow together. Many of the world's greatest fortunes have been built on networks of trust, and Tzedakah is one of the most effective ways to build those connections. The story of a Jewish businessman named Michael is a real-life example of how this cycle of abundance works in practice. Early in his career, Michael built a promising business and started making money quickly. However, as his company grew, he began to care more about security than growth. He reduced his investments, cut spending excessively, and stopped contributing to the community initiatives he had always supported. His focus was on holding on to as much money as possible, as he feared that a crisis could put everything at risk. What happened next was surprising. Within a few years, his business began to stagnate. Loyal customers left, promising opportunities disappeared, and he realized that his company was losing relevance in the market. In a conversation with a mentor, he heard something that changed his mindset. Michael, money is like water. If you try to hold it too tightly, it slips through your fingers. But if you allow it to flow, it will always come back to you. Determined to change his approach, Michael resumed the practice of Tzedakah. He returned to invest in causes he believed in, helped small entrepreneurs grow, and even created a fund to finance startups within his community. Before long, something unexpected began to happen. New connections emerged, investors began to seek him out, and his company came to be seen as an example of innovation and social impact. Within a few years, he not only regained his position in the market, but expanded his business to a level he never imagined. This story reinforces a crucial point. Those who contribute to the growth of others create an environment where prosperity becomes inevitable. Money flows to those who know how to use it wisely and intentionally. You're starting to see prosperity differently, and that's already a big step toward transforming your relationship with money. Here, we don't bring empty theories, but tested strategies that actually work. So leave your like right now on the video, because the next content will further deepen this knowledge and show you how to apply these principles to grow financially consistently. And you won't believe how Tzedakah can be used strategically to create valuable connections and open doors that no money can buy. What sets big billionaires apart is not just the amount of money they have, but the way they build and utilize their connections. Among the most successful, there is an invisible pattern. Those who practice Tzedakah intentionally are always surrounded by the best opportunities, the right people, and the most promising businesses. That's because Tzedakah isn't just an altruistic gesture. It's a strategic tool that opens doors that no money can buy. Many people still see donation as something unilateral, where only those who receive it benefit. But the truth is that the big Jewish businessmen used Tzedakah to build powerful networks of influence and mutual growth. This is an old practice, which has been used for centuries to strengthen communities and boost business. And the most interesting thing is that, contrary to what many think, this does not only work for those who already have money. This principle can be applied by anyone, at any financial level, to accelerate their growth and multiply their opportunities. There is an invisible rule in business that few realize. Those who contribute to the growth of others inevitably grow together. Think about it. If you were an investor and had to choose between two people to close a big deal, which one would have the best chances? The first is someone who has always thought only of himself, has never helped anyone, and has a history of being individualistic. The second is a person known for supporting others, creating opportunities for those around them, and strengthening their circle of contacts. Which one seems more reliable? Which one probably has a stronger network of support and reciprocity? Billionaires understand this perfectly. Many of the world's greatest entrepreneurs, especially Jews, used tzedakah as an investment in building a favorable ecosystem for their businesses and their relationships. When a great entrepreneur allocates some of his wealth to fund education, entrepreneurship, and innovation within his community, he is not just helping, he is creating an environment where new opportunities naturally arise and where he is always at the center of the most important decisions. This phenomenon can be explained by the concept of social return on investment, a principle widely studied in economics and finance. Unlike the traditional financial return, which measures only the profit obtained in a transaction, the social return measures the positive impact that an investment has on the surrounding environment and how this generates indirect benefits for those who invested. When one practices tzedakah strategically, one is building an invisible patrimony, a network of trust and influence that becomes extremely valuable over time. Imagine an entrepreneur who donates part of his resources to finance scholarships for young entrepreneurs in his community. In the short term, this may seem like just a gesture of generosity, but over time, these young people grow up, become successful professionals, create businesses, access new opportunities, and who do you think will be the first person they turn to when they need a mentor, an investor, or a partner for a new project? Now think about the entrepreneurs who apply this logic on a large scale. They create social investment funds, startup incubators, financial support networks, and, in a few years, surround themselves with the brightest minds and the most innovative businesses. The result? They are always at the center of the best opportunities, with early access to market trends and a network of loyal and influential allies. This principle can also be applied more simply, without the need for large fortunes. Small entrepreneurs who understand the logic of tzedakah build strategic relationships, generate trust, and create partnerships that accelerate their growth. Lawyers who offer free mentorship to small businesses at the beginning of their journeys, consultants who share knowledge without expecting an immediate return, investors who fund promising projects within their communities. All these examples show that the impact of tzedakah goes far beyond the act of giving, creating a domino effect that drives everyone involved. A real case that illustrates this is that of a Jewish businessman named Jonathan, who began his career in real estate. He always believed in the importance of tzedakah, and even in the early years of his business, when he still didn't have much money, he allocated part of what he earned to support training programs for young entrepreneurs. Initially, this seemed just a gesture of generosity, but over the years, something began to happen. The young people who went through these programs began to grow professionally and enter the real estate market. Many of them opened their own companies, became brokers, lawyers, and investors in the sector. And guess who they were looking for when they needed a reliable partner for their business? Jonathan was at the center of this network that he himself helped to build. His name came to be associated with opportunities, confidence, and growth. He didn't have to chase big deals. Businesses started looking for him. The logic is simple. Those who build bridges will always have a place to go. Many people struggle to grow financially because they try to advance on their own, without understanding that real prosperity happens in a network. Tzedakah, when applied wisely, creates this multiplier effect, where every action of generosity planted bears unexpected fruit in the future. Now tell me, have you ever experienced this effect in practice? Have you ever helped someone without expecting anything in return, and after a while, saw opportunities arise unexpectedly? I want to know your opinion, so write here in the comments. Now let's delve even deeper into this knowledge and understand how to apply tzedakah strategically to not only grow financially but multiply your wealth consistently over time. Understanding the concept of tzedakah is the first step, but true transformation happens when it is put into practice. Many people believe that donating is something that can only be done when you already have a lot of money. But this is one of the biggest misconceptions about prosperity. Tzedakah is not a matter of quantity, but rather of intention and strategy. When applied correctly, it not only strengthens your financial mindset, but multiplies your opportunities, expands your network of connections, and unlocks new sources of wealth. The first big question that arises when talking about tzedakah is, how much should one donate? There is a Jewish teaching that establishes 3 levels of bestowal. The minimum acceptable is 10% of net income, a basic value practiced by many Jews throughout history, as it creates a balance between generosity and financial growth. The ideal, for those who have already achieved stability and want to accelerate their cycle of abundance, is 20%. The maximum recommended can be beyond 20%, as long as the donation does not compromise the donor's economic security. This system avoids extremes. It neither encourages irresponsible giving, which can harm the donor, nor does it allow avarice, which blocks the flow of money. When a person commits to giving consistently, they develop an abundance mindset, as they come to see money as a renewable resource and not something that needs to be eagerly accumulated. But beyond the value, the choice of where to donate is a determining factor in transforming tzedakah into a tool for multiplying wealth. It is not enough to donate randomly. It is necessary to choose causes that create a multiplier effect. In the Jewish tradition, the donation is directed to 3 main strategic areas. The first is education and training, as investing in the growth of others generates a positive long-term impact, allowing individuals to develop skills that will later contribute to the entire community. The second area is entrepreneurship and microcredit, because instead of simply donating money for basic needs, many Jewish communities encourage the creation of funds that help small entrepreneurs start businesses. This not only solves an immediate problem, but generates jobs, strengthens the local economy, and creates a sustainable cycle of growth. The third area of impact is community projects, as many people underestimate the power of investing in their own community. When local businesses thrive, the entire surrounding economy is strengthened, creating an environment where more people have opportunities for growth. This strategic approach is what sets tzedakah apart from simple charity. The focus is not only on alleviating momentary difficulties, but on creating long-term solutions that benefit both those who donate and those who receive. Another important point is that tzedakah is not limited to financial giving. Often donating time, knowledge, and connections can have an even bigger impact than simply transferring money. A mentor who dedicates a few hours a month to mentoring young entrepreneurs may be creating opportunities that will change their lives forever. An entrepreneur who connects a talented professional to an investor may have generated a partnership that will multiply the wealth of both. The big question is to understand which tzedakah format makes the most sense for your reality. If you have more time than money, donate your time. If you have knowledge, share it. If you have financial resources, invest in something that generates real impact. The key is to keep the flow of abundance active, regardless of your current condition. And so that this is not just a theory, here is a practical challenge for you to apply tzedakah and observe changes in your financial mindset in the next 30 days. First, set your percentage, choosing between 10% and 20% of your income, or set a weekly time to dedicate to tzedakah. Then choose a strategic destination for your donation, selecting a cause that generates long-term impact. It could be a capacity-building project, a microcredit fund, or a mentee that you will help for free. For a month, follow the results and observe what happens around you. How does your mindset about money change? What unexpected opportunities arise? What new connections appear? This challenge may seem simple, but anyone who has tried it knows the power it has. Many reports show that by practicing tzedakah consistently, new doors begin to open. Opportunities appear and the relationship with money is transformed. Throughout this video, it has become clear that tzedakah is not just an act of generosity or a gesture of momentary charity. It is a true financial code, a principle that has been tested and applied for centuries and remains one of the best-kept secrets of prosperity. Those who understand this concept and put it into practice not only strengthen their financial mindset, but unlock a cycle of abundance that is reflected in opportunities, growth, and valuable connections. Those who ignore this principle, on the other hand, often find themselves trapped in a scarcity mentality, holding on to money for fear of losing it, not realizing that this attitude may be precisely what prevents its growth. The difference between those who continually thrive and those who struggle to advance is rarely just in the amount of money they have. What really matters is how they deal with wealth and how they make that money circulate. Those who apply tzedakah intelligently understand that prosperity is not about accumulating, but rather about getting resources flowing in the right way. The money that circulates strategically returns multiplied, whether through new business opportunities, or in the construction of a solid reputation, or in the strengthening of a powerful network of contacts. Now, I want to know from you, have you ever practiced tzedakah intentionally? Do you believe that donating can make you more prosperous? I want you to share your view on this here in the comments. Your experience can help others see new possibilities and begin to apply this principle in their own lives. And since you've made it this far, it shows that you're really committed to your financial growth and the transformation of your mindset. So, see now if you are already subscribed to the channel. Here, we explore principles that have been applied for centuries and continue to work today. If you want to take this learning journey further, stay surrounded by strategic knowledge, and unlock new levels of prosperity, this is the right place for you. Now that you understand this concept, click now on the next video, because I will reveal to you another Jewish principle that few know, and that can completely transform your way of seeing wealth. You don't want to miss this information. So click now and continue this journey with me.